Welcome to The Global Crowd, a podcast where friends from the localization and globalization space share their stories, their insights, what makes them tick, and have some fun along the way. I'm Jose Palomares, and I've been in this space for over 25 years. I've been lucky to meet some very remarkable people during this journey, and this podcast is my little tribute to them, to their talent, to their curiosity, and to the impact that they have had in the world. This is the very least I think that I can do to celebrate them. Now, let's set some expectations. I'm not a professional podcaster. I don't have a fancy studio, as you can see. I don't have a content calendar. I just improvise the best I can, and I really don't have any idea what I'm doing. What I do have is a lot of curiosity and a great lineup of people to talk to. So there is no agenda here, no secret sponsors, no sales pitch, just honest conversations, a few oddball questions, and maybe a spark of inspiration. I hope that you have as much fun listening as we have had fun recording this. Let's get into it. So, today, it is my great honor to introduce to all of you the greatest Ricard Sierra, CEO of Kobalt, and a good friend of mine, should I say? Is that too much?
Sure, yes. We're friends, right?
Okay, you're live, so you really need to play along.
I need to say yes.
All right, so thank you, Ricard. I'm so happy that you're doing this, and that not only that is like you're doing this for the first episode of this podcast.
Yeah, I'm your guinea pig, right? I mean, that's what you said. I mean, it's like when you're doing the pilot for a show that you know it's never going to be on the air, and it's going to end up in the drawer, right? So no pressure.
And you've been very supportive of the idea. So actually, I want to share with everyone when I had this idea of like doing like a podcast, it was my conversation. I told a lot of friends, it's like, does it make any sense? It's just I'm plenty busy. Do I want to do this to myself? And then it was actually Ricard who had just some comments. It was a little bit of an example. He's done something similar, or he does something similar, and he was like not only an inspiration, but also supportive. So I'm super, super, super thankful that you're willing to be the guinea pig for this.
I'm glad that I helped you. I mean, come up with the idea at least, and why not try it and let's do it. And there's always someone that's gonna learn something or is gonna have some fun, you know.
I don't promise that. I'm not sure. You're a lot more optimistic than I am. I think that we're just being silly and having fun as friends. But I do appreciate the trying.
All right. In any case, let's do it.
Okay, so Ricard, why don't you tell us in your own words? I don't want to talk about you. I would rather have you talk about yourself. So who are you and how the hell did you get here?
That's a very good question. I'm Ricard Sierra. I was born in Barcelona, born and raised. I'm still living in Barcelona. I never left. We were actually almost neighbors, right, Jose, for a period of time before you moved to the US.
Yeah, we both hang out in the wrong places. We went with the wrong companies. We had fun in the same stupid ways.
Yeah, in the wrong part of town always.
Yeah, I remember when we talk about it, it was like a very bonding moment. It's like, really? Are you from the hood?
Yeah, we were from the hood. And at some point in my career, I started working as a translator. Back in the day, I think it was, 1997 maybe, right? So that dates me a bit. And I started really from the beginning, started working in audiovisual translation. I worked for Televisión Española. That, for those that don't know, it's the Spanish BBC, in a way, the public television, right? From then I jumped into cinema, translating film, subtitling, things like that. And that took me to also doing some sort of transcreation projects. Back in the early 2000s, you know, Motorola was the brand of I was doing things for Motorola and Nokia, things like that.
Isn't that sexy to say that, you know, how did I cut my teeth? It's like, I work for all of these amazing companies. I think it's a little bit of like the translator under some story, right? It's like, you get to work with some really nice.
It's completely right. You're completely right. Yeah, it was cool back in the day. And at some point in my career, I remember I started counting the films that I had translated. Theatrical releases, mind you, not films on TV and things like that. I mean, films that were shown in the cinemas. And it was 300. Oh. And I was like 35. And I said, there's no way I'm going to translate like 600 more, 900 more films like this. I mean, I had done like Night at the Museum 1, Night at the Museum 2, Night at the Museum 3 already. And I said, I'm not going to be translating Night at the Museum 15. I mean, so I thought, I don't know, I'm getting bored in a way. So that's why I started my own company, Kobalt Languages, Kobalt. And I've never been bored ever since.
You made that mistake. It was like,
Yeah,
how
that
can I
was a
keep this
huge mistake.
entertaining?
I'm thinking of going back. I'm thinking of going back to the films, actually.
Yeah, yeah. That's so funny. How do you give like the 5-year-old summary of that?
How
What
do I
does your
explain to a
what does your company do?
5-year-old? Eh?
What does your company do?
Yeah, sure. We help. Those. I don't know, the iPhone that you use, that it's all in Spanish or in Catalan or in the language that you want. I mean, some people need to do it, right? That's us. Or the reading books that you read. Not all of them are written in your language. So we help, translating all that content, all those books, all those programs, the TV shows that you watch, everything, so that you can understand them. That's what I would say.
But you do more than just like apps and software and books. So what do you do at Cobalt?
That was the explanation to a 5-year-old. But what we do, we actually help international companies generate content, transcreate content in multiple languages. And we do it for fashion brands, for e-commerce sites, for lots of big international companies, as I said. And we do it with a lot of technology on our side. I was a big believer of automations back in 2017 or something like that. And I started pushing and trying to, develop our own integrations with our clients to help them achieve their goals with less effort, make their lives easier. And that was I think, a smart move on our side. So I would say 80% of what we do now is automated or some type of form.
Mm-hmm. And I think that is actually what comes to mind when I think about like you and the company. That there is like so many of us like struggling to really automate stuff. But when I look a little bit like under the hood in your case and saw that is actually real, that there is a lot of like automation, it's pretty amazing.
It is pretty real. I mean, last year we delivered 75,000 pieces of content on automatically. So that's like 400 files a day or attachments that we don't send anymore. Not bad. I mean, I wish it would be more, but yeah,
Sure.
I won't complain.
I'm sure it will be more. It's a matter of time. So let's go more into. So we're not here to talk about work really, but really want to understand.
Good to know.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is one thing? What is one thing about your job that you think that people usually do not understand?
If we're talking about people in our space,
when do you feel the most misunderstood, Ricard? Tell me.
That is actually that I work less and less with language and more with people. It's more managing people and setting a vision for them and setting, the right culture and the right work environment and give them the right tools so they can thrive. But me, myself right now, I'm not in touch with, the language part of the work that we do.
Do you feel that makes you any less of a translator?
I've always felt like a translator. Maybe I'm on a break, right? But I feel like a translator, yes. But right now I'm managing a company, and that's very different from translating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me some anecdote. Tell me about like some really weird or unusual project or ask that you had to fulfill, either at Kobalt or before that. What is the weirdest anecdote that you have?
I don't know if the weirdest, but do you know the Loonies, Los Loonies? That was a Spanish TV show. For those that are not from Spain, it's like Sesame Street, maybe,
mm-hmm.
Right? So I was working with them for 2 years. So they had this section, let's call it section, on the show. It was work and play, and it was teaching English words to young Spanish kids, right? So I was there to make sure that they were pronouncing it correctly. I mean, things like that. So it was very silly. It was like, "Hi, Lucha, what are you doing?" "I'm going to the park," that in Spanish. Do you know how to say park in English? It was this. You say, "I'm going to the park." I didn't know that. And, very silly stuff for 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. But it was fun, and get to see how they work and how they record it and everything, how they shoot it. It was fun. It was fun. And then another weird project is that I was doing like live commentary on the NASCAR races for 4 years, the odd hours in the morning here in Spain, and the 500 miles Daytona 500. Oh man, it was like 4 hours long, and
I was going to say, I think that you also need to explain what NASCAR is. I found that living in the US, that a lot of people outside of
really.
the US do not know what that
Okay,
is.
it's motorsports. It's like Formula One, but nothing happens really. They go run and run and run like Lightning McQueen. The film
Mm,
Cars.
yep.
That's what it is.
Now I got it.
That's what it is. So I was doing that for 4 years. I mean, we didn't do all the races in the calendar, but yeah, we got to do a
That's a
few.
lot.
That's a lot, especially because I mean, it was like a broadcast of 4 or 5 hours, and it was three of us, and you needed to talk for the for the whole duration of the show.
I hope you didn't have to do like the 500 hours, like the 500 miles all around.
Around the track. No. But I was watching them for the 4 or 5 hours, so that was a lot.
It's amazing that it only takes like 4 or 5 hours. But can you imagine just like driving in
Oh yeah.
the same direction for that long? It's a stamina test.
Yeah. Completely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's exciting. So next question for you. What
Okay.
is something that you would like to change about our space? By the way, for those of you listening, Ricard did not have a chance to rehearse any of this, so he's doing his best on the spot. So that's gonna be a trend throughout. And I might not be following even my own script, so he's getting some curveballs as we go.
It's one take. That's what.
It's
It's
one take.
only one take, and we're recording live, right?
Whatever comes up.
So, what would I like to change in the space? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, or something that any pet peeve, something that you would like to like rant about.
Okay. I hate that we don't, have a seat on the table where decisions are made. I mean, back in the old days, translation was seen as something, I wouldn't say important. Translation has never been important, but considered. But now, if you go to talk to some clients, like a solved issue, right? I mean, translation. Who cares about translation anymore? And they don't consider or don't regard this as an important, part or function of their companies. And we haven't been able to, as I said, get a seat on the table and bring the conversation up to the right level.
So
That's something.
how you think it should like look like? So tell me, what is that you envision would be like the ideal environment for everyone?
I don't really know, but we should be able to make them understand that there is no international without some sort of translation, localization, call it whatever you want. That you overseas revenue is related in a way, sure, with logistics, sure, with the right product at the right place. But if you want to engage with customers anywhere in the world, you're going to need some sort of translation or localization, call it whatever you want, right? And if you don't do it right, there's always a competitor that's going to outshine you in a way. And I think upper management needs to understand that international revenue is linked with translation.
All right. Yeah, I think we should do another one on like how we convince upper management to actually see those things, right?
We haven't been able to find the way, I think, but we should keep it trying.
Yeah, there is no like universal formula, but
For sure.
definitely we hope to like I think it's very important that we ask each other as well and try to get to some of those responses. So too much translation right now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I want to ask you, if you didn't do this for a living, what do you think you would be doing instead?
I consider myself a creative guy, like creating a company or creating something. I would be doing something creative. It could be photography, videography, maybe content. I don't know, or something in the creative space. But creating a company, to me, I mean, building a company, starting a company, it's also a creative process. I like that part.
I want to call out something that I know about you. Looking at the Kobalt website, when I go to like About Us, I do see a bunch of things that you offer as an organization. And then there is like one circle that says movies. And it's kind of like the other one to me. It's like you did not want to like not have movies in there, like call out as a big thing. Because I do know that you're like really big on cinema as well.
Yeah. Well, right. I am, or I was. Yeah. And it's always close to my heart, and film and cinema. So,
all right. So let's do this. Let's talk about a little bit about let's ask you about that. I do recognize you as a cinephile, so someone who really really enjoys cinema. So let's ask you a few about those and get into the movie Ricard.
Okay.
So tell me, what would be a film that you would defend to the death, no matter how underrated, how criticized, how overhated it is?
I don't know. Okay, Greece.
No, not for real. So which one?
Greece.
Okay.
That's an excellent movie.
So why? What makes it excellent, and why you think that people do not appreciate it?
I'm not sure if people see it as cheesy in a way, Greece, right? But if it lifts you up, it cheers you up. I mean, there's something in the music, the dancing, whatever. Yeah, sure, it's really cheesy, I know. But I mean, it was chosen as the movie that everyone would pick to bring to an island. If you can only take one movie to an island and watch it all the time, it was Greece was the movie that was elected for that. So, yeah, why not?
All right, that's just for the record. I do love Greece. And the musical. There's a musical that I know it's not the same, but it's really fun.
Yeah. I've been to the musical too. Yeah. It's
and
really
I've seen
fun.
it. I've seen it in like two or three different languages, and it's good in every version. So you might be up to something with that.
See, you didn't believe me, but yeah.
All right. So another question:
Okay.
subtitles or dubbing?
Oh, I actually like dubbing. To be honest, not because I've worked into dubbing, but I think dubbing in Spain is not that bad. I've seen movies dubbed in other countries, when we go to these conferences and you go to the hotel room and relax for half an hour and you watch a dubbed movie. Ooh, there's only one voice reading all the characters. Okay, I don't like that dubbing. But have you ever seen a Woody Allen film with subtitles? It's a nightmare. It's like 4 people talking at the same time, right? Everything goes so fast that with subtitles, you lose like 70% of what they are saying. That's yeah. Okay. I made it up the number, right? But it could be close to 70% of what they're saying. And when you're dubbing, you don't lose that. Also, humor doesn't translate. Humor is hard to to reflect on subtitles. So a comedy will always be better for me in dubbed. But then, for sure, if I'm going to watch Unforgiven, it's gonna be even without subtitles if I can avoid them. So because they distract me.
Yeah, I think that you make a good point that actually in Spain and in Catalonia, it is actually tricky because there is like really good dubbing to the point that you come to like even appreciate the voices of the dubbing actors better. And you said like Woody Allen, and I could hear him in his Spanish voice in my head.
And that's John Pera. Yeah, right. And I'm part of a selection jury. We do a short film festival here close to where I live, and I'm picking up the movies that will make it to the festival, right? And I was watching this movie, and I said, "That guy's Denzel Washington, the voice." I could, that was his voice. That was Denzel's.
Can't miss it. Yeah, my wife is all the time. It's like, oh, that is that guy from what? And she's like, how? It's like it just gets into your brain. It just it carves a spot in there. Okay, so as a cinephile, what's the most memorable line in dialogue ever written?
Okay, I don't know if it's the most memorable, but it's one that I like it a lot, and it's the best hook ever created to me. Is from Goodfellas. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
All right.
That's a way to start a movie.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And I also like another one from Young Frankenstein. When they say they're digging a grave, and Dr. Frankenstein is feeling miserable, and then I don't know, I forgot the name of the other character. Says, well, it could be worse. It could rain, and then it starts downpouring. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a lot of people might not even be familiar with the movie, but it's totally worth it. Even if it looks like black and white and old, just go and watch it. It is It is
really
really,
fun.
really good, and it ages really, really well. All right. So what about directors? So you could only keep, like you said, like taking it to an island, right? To a desert island. If you could only keep, if everything else was going to be lost, you could keep only one director's entire filmography. Who would it be?
Ah, that's a hard one. Okay, if it were a classic, let's say classic, Hitchcock,
Okay.
right? I think we can all agree on that. And then from the new guys, maybe Christopher Nolan's filmography. I think it's a very good. Okay, yes, he made Tenet, which is
It,
that
it
one
doesn't matter.
mistake.
No one has like finished the movie, so we don't know if it's really good or bad. No one
Me
made it to
neither.
the end.
Me neither. I don't know. I have
No
no
one, no
idea.
one, no one did.
Okay.
It's unseen. You
Okay.
can you can look it up on the Wikipedia. No one has like watched the whole movie. But
So
but really, pick one.
okay, then I pick the new guy. I'll pick Christopher Nolan.
Awesome. That was a brave decision to make there.
Thank you.
Okay. So what about if you had to introduce aliens to human to human cinema? What would be the movie that you would think represents us the best?
Okay, maybe Interstellar.
Oh, nice.
That bond between Matthew McConaughey and the daughter, and the power of love in a way. If
Mhm.
they want to understand us as human race, that's a good way to explain it.
Okay.
Physics apart and time travel apart and everything apart, but
I think that it's one of those that make your brain hurt, but
yeah,
in a good way. And it
yeah,
was super credible. So
yeah. They say the physics is 100% accurate. I mean,
yeah, which would be really good for the aliens to see. It's like, oh, these guys know what they're doing. Imagine that we give them something else, and they would be like, nope, that won't fly. That's not how it works. So thank you for appeasing the aliens.
you mean like I don't know, Bruce Willis, demolishing an asteroid that's coming to the Earth or something like that?
Let's not do that. Okay, so what about a movie or a movie title that describes yourself and where you are in life right now?
Okay, maybe not a movie, but a scene. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay, you've watched Goodfellas, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that one of the scenes at the end when he's doing the spaghetti, whatever, and then running to deliver some cocaine somewhere else and going back and forth. The multitasking that he's doing, yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
not the most politically correct one. So if we have
I'm
like kids,
sorry. I'm
kids
sorry.
watching, don't watch it.
Yeah,
It's not good.
I'm in Spain. I can say those things.
You get a pass.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So let's do something different. Let me ask you like a really tricky one just for laughs.
Okay.
Do you know how you make an egg roll?
You mean like the recipe?
Yeah. Like
No,
the
I've
food.
no.
You just push it.
You're so silly.
Okay. So one about you. What is the dumbest way that you have ever injured yourself?
Okay, I fell from my bike like a week ago and I hurt my knee pretty badly. But other than that, I was helping my dad with, some renovation work at home. And we were putting slabs of stone, away because he was doing something. And I grabbed one and it broke. So I was holding one half of the stone slab and the other went like this through my ankle. Yeah, a few stitches there. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was painful.
that's nasty. I don't know
Yeah.
if it qualifies as like fully like a dumb way. I mean,
But
it can happen, but
it was like
lesson learned though, I'm sure.
it was like in slow motion, like the correcaminos. How do you say that? Roadrunner.
Go on.
When you right. So I was seeing in slow motion the other part of the slab.
I like the that you identify with the coyote there. And then the last one on this block. Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck
One horse-sized duck.
or 100 duck-sized horses?
Okay, can I ask you how vicious is a horse? Because I think ducks are quite
That's for you. That's for you to
mean.
decide.
Okay, I would rather concentrate on one enemy. So
The
the horse-sized duck, right?
right.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
think so.
Were you aware that ducks do have teeth? Too
Yeah, I'm
late.
aware of
It
that,
doesn't
but
matter.
I
You're
mean,
fighting. You're fighting the big guy. So
yeah,
it's
let's take
well,
him.
that's. I think I'm going to ask this question to everyone to see if they
That's
can.
that's a very good question. Yeah,
So, Ricard, I want to ask you. It's important to me that we actually paint a little bit of like what is the state of the industry or what we think that's happening. So I think that
right.
you're like an important and educated and informed voice of what is happening. You see your own company, other companies similar to you, also customers and trends. You're a regular attending conferences and you don't shy from going to events that are not necessarily only localization driven.
Yep.
So I trust that you have like a pretty good view of what is going on. So and you've also like seen this transition yourself. So you've gone from translating films into now being a tech-driven company. You mentioned that it's very important to your DNA and to your success. So what is the biggest shift that you've seen in the industry? And what do you think that people are like lagging behind? What do you think that people should be getting on with that they might not be yet?
Okay, I mean, it's hard to give one answer that will, be good for everybody in a way, but I think that's what's happening with AI and the disruption that AI is causing now. I mean, that's transformational because yes, we've always used some sort of technology, call it cut tools and things like that, but it was really not that, I think, that revolutionary. It's something that you could adapt. But now with with AI, every week is something new, something different, and it has the potential to be really transformative for our industry, right? And I think a lot of people are paying a lot of attention. Yes, there's also people that are, going with the hype. That happens as well. But I also think there's a lot of people that are, yeah, in denial in a way, that are thinking, "No, I mean, that's a mistake. Clients will come back. Clients will see that this is not working, and they will come back to us." And sure, I think there will be some sort of coming back, but we have to meet them in the middle. I mean, they're not going to come back to where we were back in 2018. Or, I mean, we need to evolve. We need to, create new services, update our services in a way that we can use that technology, because that technology is not going to disappear. It's not going to go back. No revolution has been, dismantled in a way, right? So I think that we need to evolve, and we need to do it fast. And we need to start thinking, how can we support our clients using this technology? Because sure, it will bring costs down for them, for instance, or it will allow them to do more stuff with the same budget, but we need to be there and support them, and also in a way act as a consultants and saying, I mean, we are the experts in that respect, in what language matters, in language matters in a way, and I can help you do this with, how do you say, safeguards. Yeah, so making sure that you don't make costly mistakes, and that your reputation, your brand is at stake. So we can help you, guide you through this. But for sure, we need to incorporate this technology into our portfolio, and yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's the way it is, and it's not gonna disappear. So
Yeah, and it's going to be everywhere. Not only it's not going to disappear, it's like it's going to only get
sure,
more and more popular, more use. But let me ask you to like get specific.
okay.
So give me like a one failed strategy you have tried or seen people try and not working, and then give me one that is actually working for you, making you successful, so that people can copy and learn from you.
I don't know. That's a tough one, Jose. One failed strategy, for sure, as I said, ignoring it or criticizing the technology and say, no, you don't need that. That's not going to work. That's a recipe for disaster. If we're talking about LSPs and their our offering, sure, we need to acknowledge its potential and also work with our clients to, because projects now are way more complex than they were before. I mean, like 4 years ago, you get so many words, such repetition and things like that, fussy matches, whatever, and it was easy. Now projects are so complex that we need to, so many pieces, and they want some different. I want this, but I want this in this environment with these results, and so we need to act more as consultants. And I know I'm not answering your question. That's what I wanted to say.
No, but you do in a way. So the way that what I'm hearing from you is that there is actually that approaching clients and having a conversation about maybe even like transforming your services. Is there something that your company is no longer doing or trying to sell, and something that you have like shifted to, like a new service that you have like created?
We're getting a lot of traction or interest with all this AI dubbing, and especially dubbing and also subtitling, right? So all of a sudden, dubbing videos is way more cheap, right? Cheaper than it was before. The possibilities are endless, and what was prohibitive a few years back, I mean, now it's affordable at a decent budget. So that's why we're getting lots of requests, especially I don't know for the last 6 months, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So AI voices, and what we don't offer, TEP, translation, editing, and proofreading. That's a service that's dying. The budget's not there, or at least for our clients, and what we're seeing. I mean, we only see like a small fraction of the market, but that's something that is dying. I mean, nobody wants to pay, I don't know, X cents per word anymore.
And you see people are still trying to sell that as a critical service?
I see some certain companies that are still doing the way they were doing it, sticking to the old ways. And you talk to all the owners, and maybe they're afraid, they don't know how to use the technology, they don't have the resources. Maybe they're at an age where their retirement is close, and now I need to transform my company. I'm 5 years away from my retirement. And that's a mistake, because the transformation is going to be radical and it's going to be very fast.
I think that with the TV, you're absolutely right, and I'm even surprised to learn that people are still like trying to push for that, because it's really ignoring that there is like other ways of doing it. Even before AI, so many people had to really like move on from like, do you really need to have like three attempts at getting something to be of good quality? Because that is what you're doing. And even with like a philosophical counter argument to it, right? It's like, why does it take 3 attempts to get something right? It's that tough thing to sell when your customers are actually listening and they care about the process and where the money goes. So I'm even surprised that is still happening. All right. So I think that you might have like answered this. I don't know if it's worth asking it as such, but what is the one mindset or habit that you think has helped you be successful, even in transformative times like this?
Maybe, okay, 2 things. I think I'm a nonconformist. I'm always, even when you get, like a big, I don't know, whatever, big success, big story, big project, whatever, and you have, yes, we've made it. Immediately, I start thinking, okay, what's next? This what's next, I think I'm going to frame it and put it on my wall. And I'm always thinking, okay, now what? What should we do? We cannot stay put in one place. We always need to adapt and evolve and think, how can we make this better? Same with the automations. The automations that we started doing in back 2017, nothing to do with what we do right now, right? So there's always trying to improve. And another thing that I think it helps me a lot is to visualize where I want to be I want my company to be in 5 years, in 4 years. Okay, it's really far. How are we going to make it there? Okay, and then you start thinking, okay, maybe if we do this, we go here, and then from here to there, and maybe you don't get to that specific point that you wanted to, but you get 80% of that result, or you ended up, up north or a bit further south, and, so yeah.
So having a clear vision is what I hear, and being a nonconformist, which is a much better word than what my team uses for myself. They say I'm a pain in the ass, but
that's a nonconformist.
I think it's a similar mindset than what you're describing. So I have one last question for you, Ricard,
okay.
and I'll let you go. And it has to do actually with that, and you definitely didn't know that this was happening. So I want to ask you, if I was actually to ask your team what they think about you, what do you think that they would say?
that I'm the greatest. No, sorry, no, I don't think. Okay, I think you know what I think they would say. He made me do it.
It wasn't me.
He made me do it because if you ask, especially my senior team, did you want to do this? Did you, accept this role free willingly? They will say no. I didn't want to do this, but he pushed me into doing it. And I think that's part of my job to, push people. Make them feel a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, otherwise they will be doing the same thing for 20 years, right? And you need them to evolve because you want to evolve your company as well. So you give them the tools, you give them the training, you give them the room, and you allow them to fail and to, at some places. That's completely okay. That's part of the process. But I try to push them a little bit and get them out of their comfort zone, because there's no evolution in the comfort zone. We're going to get nowhere there. So I think, I don't know, maybe they will say that, a completely horrible thing, but I hope they say that.
All right. Well, that's great because I have asked them.
Have you?
Yeah.
All right.
And I asked them to give me 30 seconds of what would you say about Ricard, and this is what they said.
I would say that Ricard is a very driven boss. He's very supportive, and he's always very nice with everybody at the office. However, he always rushes to be the first one at the coffee machine in the mornings.
So Ricard, he's a very nice boss. He's a very modern boss. He's the only boss I've ever had who is aware of all the TikTok trends and watches all the trash TV with us. So it's very nice to comment on.
That's me.
All right. Well, that's
okay.
That's what they had to say. I don't know.
What can I say? I have 2 teenage girls, so I need to keep up with them.
Yeah. Well, I do feel that you're doing a disservice by hogging the coffee machine. So please work on that.
Yeah, I will work on that. Maybe I will buy a separate coffee machine for them.
Yeah, and keep up with the TikTok for sure.
Yeah, we'll do it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ricard. I really appreciate you have done this with me. I know
it's been so much fun.
Way sillier than you anticipated.
Probably yes, yeah.
But it's been a lot of fun. So.
I like your shirt, by the way. There's a story behind. There's a story behind it.
We haven't told that. Do you want to tell the story about Los Pollos Hermanos?
We went together to Los Pollos Hermanos in Albuquerque, right?
We did.
Well, yeah. I thought, I'm going to propose Jose this silly plan. He's going to say no. And I said, listen, Jose, I really, really, really want to go to Los Pollos Hermanos, which is in the boondocks from here, right? It was very far.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I'm driving. Let us get an Uber. And you called the Uber right away. We were there in 20 minutes. Yeah. It was fun.
And we got this to show up for. And if you ever go to Albuquerque and you do not know why you find yourself in Albuquerque and you find yourself questioning that, Breaking Bad tours, Breaking Bad movie scenes, Los Pollos Hermanos, for crying out loud. That is was so
iconic.
Iconic, so grab a friend and go take a lot of selfies at that spot. Just make sure that they're diagonal, right? Is that how you take a selfie?
That's being cool and modern. You know what my people
never
said.
Straight, never horizontal. You just
no. I mean, come on, give it some some twist.
That's one thing that I have learned from you for sure.
You're welcome. That was a free tip.
Thank you so much, Ricard.
It's been a pleasure, Jose.
Thank you.